Good afternoon, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is our first class. So environmental studies, as you know, it's a credit class for 1 hour, and it has got one credit, 18 CIV 59. Okay. So it's a mandatory that you have to clear it, and also it comprises of 40 marks of the CIE and 60 marks of SEE. 40 marks for CIE and 60 marks for SEE, all of which is multiple choice questions. A single question carries four options. You have to take the right answer. So there are five modules in this class. So let us look at all of them one by one. So before we go into the syllabus, so all of them are very general in nature, okay, like the ecosystems and other things. So your SE is also based on the general paper itself. It's more of an environmental studies is more of a general one rather than a particular subject one. Okay, so these are the five modules: ecosystems and biodiversity in the first module, advances in energy systems and the natural resource management is the second module, environmental pollution becomes the third module, waste management and public health aspects are also comprising in the third module itself. The global environmental concerns comes under the fourth module, and the latest developments in our environmental pollution mitigation tools, that is concept and applications of remote sensing and GIS, how exactly it can be used in the environmental impact assessment, are being done in the fifth module, along with a small field work, that is visit to an environmental engineering laboratory or green building or a water treatment plant or a wastewater treatment plant. Okay, so this comprises of the one teaching hour per hour and it comprises of one credit. So CI is for 40 marks and SE is for 60 marks. It is of 2 hours of examination hours. Okay. So coming to the first topic of today is the ecosystems. We shall start our discussion on the ecosystem. So what do you mean by ecosystem? So these are the contents which are being found in this. The what is ecosystem? The three major principles of ecosystem, the components of an ecosystem. So the movement of energy, how exactly the energy is moving, like the different food chains, different food webs, and also the trophic levels and the biomasses, all these things. Okay, linkages and interactions in the ecosystems, how exactly it take place, and also finally the environmental limitation ecosystem development. So coming to the ecosystem, what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is a grouping of organisms that interact with each other and their environment in such a way to preserve the grouping. So simply defining the ecosystem, it is interaction of a particular species of organisms within themselves in the defined system. Okay, so human beings interact with their own human being itself. Okay, no human being will be having any interaction with other animals, so he will be doing it in a particular environment. So the combination or the grouping of organisms which who where they interact among oneself along with one another in their own environment, so that the environment is also preserved and also the grouping is also preserved, so that is called as a ecosystem. Okay, so you can see this is a small example, typical example of a pond ecosystem. You can see light is coming from the sun, so the energy is obtained from the sun, wherein in the form of light and heat. Light and heat are the two forms of radiations that are being obtained from the sun. There are many organisms that dwell in a ecosystem, pond ecosystem. You can see the rooted plants, you can see the zooplanktons, you can see the phytoplanktons, you can see the floating plants, herbivores, carnivores, and decomposers. So there are many bacteria and fungi. There are sediment containing nutrients. So all these things are present within their single water. Though all the plants do not have different waters for all of them, they're all preserved in a single environment, and also this single environment is preserved in such a way that they start interacting with each other. Okay, so that is called as a typical example for a ecosystem. See here you can see how exactly this is a small example. You can see through precipitation what happens is plants, they are the producers because they produce their own food with the help of chlorophyll. Okay, with the help of sunlight, oxygen, and with the help of the water and the chlorophyll, a pigment present within themselves, they produce their own food with a process called photosynthesis. Okay, through a process of photosynthesis, they preserve their own, they produce their own food. Okay, so then these producers are being consumed by the primary consumers, that are the herbivores. So the herbivores are being consumed by the secondary consumers, are the carnivores. Okay, so now here you can see during the plant also, during the producers also, the primary producers, that is the consumers, that is your herbivores and also the carnivores, die. When they die, there are certain decomposers that are present in the soil, like your bacteria and fungi, which are responsible for the decomposition of the dead and decaying organisms. It may be plants remains or the animal remains. If the decomposers were not present in the environment, now we should have walked on the corpses itself or on the dead bodies itself. We have to thank that there are a lot of decomposers present in the environment. They start decomposing the organisms, dead and decaying organisms, and they convert them into inorganic material, okay, or inorganic matter. So coming to the three major principles of the ecosystem, so these are the very three important principles of the ecosystem. One is the nutrient cycle and energy flow and the structure. Okay, nutrient cycling means movement of chemical elements from environment into living organisms and from them back into the environment. Okay, so what happens is chemical environments or chemical elements are present in the inorganic nature. Okay, organisms utilize the inorganic matter and then they convert them into the organic matter, and then when they die back, that organic matter present in the organisms are again converted into inorganic substances. So that is a nutrient cycling. So next is the energy flow. energy that is required to transform the inorganic nutrients into organic tissues of an organism. So that energy is a driving force to the work of the ecosystem. Okay, so energy that is required for us to convert the inorganic substances into organic compounds. Okay, so sunlight is one of the energy that is required for the plants. Okay, now the elemental iron is in form of inorganic iron. Okay, so that elemental iron are being converted into organic iron by the plants. Okay, when human beings consume that, we get iron and we enrich them. Okay, so if there is deficiency of iron, what the doctors do, they usually suggest the iron tonics and the iron tablets. Okay, when there are people are anemic in nature. Similarly, the structure, so all these things are a particular pattern of interrelationships. Okay, so the particular pattern of interrelationships that exists between the organisms in an ecosystem refers to the structure. Okay, human beings always has got any activity to do with the human beings itself. Human beings will not go and do any activity or any other things with the other organisms or animals. Clear? So you can see how nutrient cycling take place. The input is the solar energy. The solar energy is consumed by the algae and the other microbes. They produce the food and the oxygen and water, and that food is consumed by human beings, and he leaves the carbon dioxide, which is again utilized by the organisms. Okay, human beings releases the body wastes which are decomposed by the bacteria and convert them into nutrients in water, and again they are used by the algae. Finally, all of them release some energy in the form of heat. That is the output into the environment. Similarly, energy flow is also in a similar way itself. Energy flow is also a similar way itself. Solar energy is consumed by the plant tissues, and that gets converted into body tissues, and energy is liberated into the atmosphere. Sometimes even they converted into bacteria, which are utilized by the plant tissues. So it is a continuous flow. You can see how energy is being liberated. So the structure, using the input, that is your solar energy, producers produce the food, which is called as autotrophs. They are being consumed by the consumers, and they liberate the energy in form of output energy. When they die, they decompose. Even the decomposers release amount of energy into the atmosphere. Okay, even the producers leave some amount of energy into the atmosphere. That is, producers, they take up the carbon dioxide and enrich the atmosphere with oxygen. So that is how the energy is being liberated. Okay, so here you can see ecosystem, how nutrient cycling, energy flow and structure takes place continuously. Okay, so the continuous line represents the mineral movement, that is nutrient cycles, and also the dotted lines represent the energy flow. Okay, so the producers, with the help of the sunlight, they produce the food. During the production also there is some amount of heat that is being liberated into the atmosphere. Okay, so the herbivorous plants or herbivorous animals consume the producers, and some amount of energy is being liberated, and the mineral matter or the nutrients are converted into, are transformed into the herbivores. Carnivores are being consumed by the herbivores. Carnivores consumes the herbivores, and also some amount of mineral matter is being taken up, and some amount of energy is being released. Similarly, when the producers or the herbivores or the carnivores die, they decompose, and some amount of energy is being left into the atmosphere. Only when certain decomposers are converted into nutrients, they enrich the soil. No amount of energy is being liberated, but it will directly taken up by the producers. So coming to the components of an ecosystem, there are two important components. One is a biotic component and another one is a abiotic component. Although biotic components are the living components, abiotic components are the non-living components. The abiotic components directly help the biotic components in certain ways. One is the production of food. You can say sunlight is an abiotic component. Sun is a abiotic component. Okay, but the energy that is liberated from the sun is utilized by the biotic component to produce the food. Okay, so that which is helpful is called as autotrophs. Autotrophs produce their own food, which is being consumed by the primary consumers and also the decomposers. Okay, some amount of them are being utilized for the precipitation also. Okay, consumers, and they convert the organic matter, everything, but they are not directly helpful. Abiotic components are not directly helpful to the abiotic components, but abiotic components are directly helpful for the biotic components. Simply assume there is lot of sunlight but there is no rain. If there is no rain, then there is no precipitation, then there is no sufficient water for the production of the food for the producers. Okay, so even though the sunlight is present, without rain you cannot expect the plant to prepare their food. Okay, now if there is lot of precipitation taking place without sunlight, then the plants will cannot survive. Okay, both of them are very important aspects. So coming to the abiotic components, they form the environment and determine the type of the ecosystem. Light is your sunlight, which depends on the sunlight, it depends on temperature. The nutrients, the rainfall, minerals, carbon, nitrogen, etc. And also the type of ecosystems that determines is the tropical rainforest, it may be desert, the tundra, the grassland. All these are dependent on the abiotic components. Coming to the distribution of vegetation or ecosystem, you can see based on the rainfall, you can separate them into two classes. One is, if the rainfall is very low, the temperature is very high, then it forms a desert. Rainfall is medium, temperature is also medium, then it forms a temperate deserts. If rainfall is high, the temperature is also very high, low, then it forms a cool desert. So in between that, there are certain grasslands where it has got optimum temperature and also optimum rainfall, like your savanna, like your pampas, which are present in America. Savanna is present in the America, pampas is present in North America. Similarly, there are certain grasslands that are present in the all over the world. Okay, so those grasslands are the grazing lands where you can find only the grasses, two long grasses. Okay, the rainfall will be medium. Okay, not too rainfall or not too sunny. Coming to the temperature, the rainfall is very high and also temperature is also very hot. It forms a tropical forest like that of the Amazon. The Amazon is very close to the equator. You can say temperature is very high as it receives direct sunlight, and also the rainfall is also very high. Okay, so if we are present in a deciduous where the temperature is also medium and also rainfall is also optimum. Okay, so that forms the deciduous forests. Coming to the deciduous forests, the importance of deciduous forest is that it shed their leaves in the winter season. So that is called as a deciduous forests. This is a question which will be arised in your examination. Okay, deciduous forests are the ones where they shed their leaves in the winter season in order to avoid the transpiration. So coming to the coolest regions, it forms the spruce fir forest, those that are found in the poles, and another one is a consumers. So producers are the autotrophs which produce their own food. So all the green plants, they use the sun, solar energy, chlorophyll, inorganic nutrients and water to produce their own food through a process called photosynthesis. So consumers, on the other hand, they are the one, they consume the organic compounds in the plant and animals by eating. So the important ones are the three important ones of the consumers. One is herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Okay, plant feeders, carnivores are the meat eaters, and omnivores are the general feeders which depend on both. Okay, which consumes the both. Herbivores are the primary consumers and carnivores are the secondary consumers. So another important one is a abiotic component is the decomposers. You know, decomposers, they are the very tiny organisms which include bacteria and fungi. So these are very important because they convert the organic compounds in dead plants and animals into inorganic materials. So they are responsible for the continual recycling of chemicals within the ecosystem to maintain the nutrient cycle. Okay, so if these bacteria and fungi were not present in the atmosphere, then the organic compounds in the dead plants and animals would have not got converted into inorganic materials. So then we had to then there was lot of, you can just see in the small if a small dog or anything dies in a road, you can see the smell, how much it smells. Similarly, if the decomposers are not present, then that smell is obtained because the organic material is being converted into inorganic materials. The process of conversion of organic material into inorganic materials releases that amount of smell. Okay, so if that was not present, then we should have walked on the corpses or the dead bodies itself till now. So this is a small example for your ecosystem. See, the producers produce their own food, which are being eaten by the fish and the other plants. There are some producers which are phytoplankton. There are some primary consumers, the zooplanktons. The secondary consumers are the fish, which in turn the tertiary consumers are the turtles. Lot of their sediments are being dissolved, the chemicals are being released, they get dissolved in the water, and also there are excreta that are being left from the organisms, which forms the sediments. Those excreta are being decomposed by the bacteria and fungi. Okay, so coming to the biotic components and the food chain, you can see solar energy is a primary one. Using the solar energy, the producers which are present in the first trophic level produce food. Some amount of energy is being liberated. Using this plants, the producers, they are being consumed by the primary consumers that are herbivores, which represents the second trophic levels. Again, this secondary consumers are being consumed by the secondary consumers. Primary consumers are being consumed by the secondary consumers. They represent the third trophic levels, and secondary consumers are being consumed by the tertiary consumers, which becomes the top carnivores, forms the fourth trophic level. Initially, on all lifetimes, there are some amount of heats that are being liberated. When all of these plants and animals die, they decompose, wherein no amount of energy is being liberated. Okay? So I think I'll stop my discussion here. From next class, I'm going to continue on the food chain, food webs, and the trophic levels, biomass, and biomes. If you have got any questions, you can ask me now.
Sir, test portions.
Test we shall. I'm going to discuss the test portions in the next week. Okay. Initially, I don't think we'll have a test now in this time. So let us see. Next week, I'm going to let you know. Anyhow, if there is anything test, then I'm going to let you know. Drop in your names and your user numbers so that I can put in the attendance. Of course, these are the very general topics. You have studied all of them in your elementary classes up to your second QC. Up to your SLC, you have studied all these things, but this is the brush up for all of you people. So we shall continue our discussion next class. Thank you very much.